Well, first I'm going to give honor to God for this tremendous and unique opportunity. I was talking to Virginia at the table. She said she was going to read my bio. And I said, keep it short. So everything after Dave Turner was probably too long. Virginia, thanks so much for taking out the time to read my bio. But it's really not my bio that brought me here today. And I'll explain as I speak to you. And I've done a lot of things in my career, but I would tell you this concept, to be able to come here and speak to the heritage of the Tuskegee Airmen that changed America. Words cannot express what this means to me. What an indeed privilege and honor it is for me to have this opportunity to speak to you. Tuskegee Airmen and their heritage, your family and friends, on your 75th anniversary of the Tuskegee Airmen, which started in 1941. A story you all know far better than I do. Your legacy speaks for itself. Just say Tuskegee Airmen, and people across America knows what that means. We see you in your red blazers and our baseball caps, and relish what you left for us. Your planted seeds not only inspire African Americans, but all races and genders. You fought on two fronts, abroad and at home, aiming high for double victory. And some of your hardest battles were probably within the boundaries of the United States, which were outside of your superior service that you rendered during what started in the summer of '43 in North African campaign. There are no words anyone can render to thank you. So whatever I say to you today will fall well short of your tremendous accomplishments. To everyone, thanks so very much for your invite. This is the highlight of my career thus far. To be amongst such legacy and national treasure whose stories will continue to be told for many years to come. When I spoke on Wednesday with Major General Retired Livingston, Medal of Honor, I told him that I was somewhat nervous because I did not know what I could offer to such a distinguished group. The Tuskegee Airmen. General Livingston said, he told me, he said, just tell a story. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. And Major General Retired Livingston is quite familiar with the Tuskegee Airmen because he went to Auburn University, so he knows your story quite well. I want to thank Geraldine Gillum, and I found out during this session she's also known as Gigi. So Gigi, thank you so very much. I recently met Geraldine at the Wall of Honor dedication in Atlanta, Georgia, where she introduced me to her father, an original documented Tuskegee Airman, Norris County. Tuskegee Airman County went on after his military service in the U.S. Air Force and achieved many high-level civilian positions. Like Tuskegee Airman Norris, many of you have contributed to America long after your service to the nation. I offered my business card to say, if you ever need, now you gotta remember, this was about 2 weeks ago, when I gave Jodine my business card. I said, if you ever need a guest speaker, just give me a call. Well, I didn't realize that it would happen so soon, but nor did I realize that it would be at such an event like this, the 75th anniversary of the Tuskegee Airmen at their heritage lunch honor. But in life, be careful what you ask for. When I accepted her offer on your behalf, I realized how much I didn't know. Yes, embarrassing, but true. But why me to speak to such heritage, 75 years of legacy? I have been struggling with that ever since I received my invite and accepted it. I told you about my conversation with Major General C. But why not me? It would have been easy to get someone to come and speak that knew they could recite the Tuskegee Airmen history by chapter, page, and paragraph number. Asking my participation forced me to learn and understand a much deeper appreciation for the courage and sacrifices you undertook. I saw the movie Red Tails, and even Hollywood, with all of its fame, cannot penetrate the unbelievable sacrifices you undertook. For me, even though I was born in the era of separate facilities for whites and blacks, I could not read those signs. By the time I could read them, all those signs were taken down. So it's hard for me to know those experiences outside of knowing them vicariously and in part through you. But you read those signs and you endured the isolation of those signs, and yet remained so focused on what was bigger than each of you. I'm reflecting, it is amazing to me when I meet one of you, you never say Tuskegee Airmen, Captain, Colonel, General, you just say Tuskegee Airmen. What a fraternity to be a part of, and to be a part of that great heritage. It transcends rank and gender, as both males and females were that title Tuskegee Airmen. In fact, I thought all Tuskegee Airmen were pilots, but little did I know, just 1 in 10 were pilots. You surely didn't garner that for the movie Red Tails. Only the Hollywood aerial and heroic acrobats, the fighters, truly highlighted, in my opinion. But not the experience of the personnel on the ground, and the ground crewmen, admin personnel, all those people that kept those planes in the air, aiming high for Tuskegee Airmen that served our nation with pilots, administration, mechanics, cooks, to ground crewmen. Your ability to aim high has left a told and untold legacy in our country. So you got to keep telling the legacy. As General Scott said when he was up there, you just got to keep telling the legacy. It's just that important. It's that important. Even for me, as a Brigadier General in the United States Army, I did not even truly know the impacts of your sacrifices until asked to speak. In preparation, just last Saturday, I went to Moulton Field, one of the 2 airfields, Tuskegee being the other, which is no longer there. As you well know better than me, I stood up on top of the hill on an extremely hot summer day. Just imagine the challenges you undertook. As I drove down Benjamin O. Davis Jr. Drive, I was in my air-conditioned, brand-new truck. And so I didn't truly experience. I was able to come and go. Didn't have to look over my shoulder what the Tuskegee Airmen had to experience. I had a chance to go to Hangar 1 and kind of get a little bit of that. Sat in the briefer room. No air conditioning, went over to the intelligence room, no air conditioning, but that was just a small touch of what they had to experience. Because see, I drove down the road and really didn't have to look over my shoulder very much. And so it was just a small taste of what our Tuskegee American policy, United States Armed Forces, was zero. African American, many thought could not operate complicated equipment. You proved them wrong. Pride, courage, excellence, leadership, honor, determination, valor, and sacrifice. Those are not all, but some of the words that truly speak to your legacy. 84, you lost their lives. But their ultimate sacrifices did not go unnoticed, as you have told the stories, time and time again. Due in part to your exemplary performance, President Truman July 26, 1948, signed Executive Order 9981, ending segregation in the United States Armed Forces, and yes, in part under General Davis's leadership. The United States Air Force was the first to integrate in the armed forces. A fact that I was unaware of at the Air Force. I mean, I always thought the Army did everything first, but I guess I was wrong. But, I mean, you talk about your planted seeds. My son-in-law is a medical doctor in the United States Air Force, and my daughter was not a doctor in the United States Air Force. She's now out, but those planted seeds happen because of the Tuskegee Airmen. So I'm not a heritage, but I'm a direct beneficiary of their sacrifices. No history of the Tuskegee Airmen would be complete without their understanding the discrimination they face to be pilots and ground crew. Chief Master Sergeant Graham Williams stated that segregation was prevalent throughout, and especially in the South. Colonel Charles McGee stated at times there was no place to run. And remember, I drove down Benjamin O. Davis Street driving. I was in my air-conditioned truck. And so I didn't really get the feel of it outside that it gets very hot in Alabama. So I got that portion. March 29, 1941, what an epic day. Miss Eleanor Roosevelt visited Tuskegee and met Charles, Chief Anderson, the head of the program. Miss Roosevelt asked, can Negroes fly airplanes? He replied, certainly we can. As a matter of fact, would you like to take an airplane ride? As you know, the First Lady took that ride with Chief Anderson, and many folks got nervous about her. In fact, they called the president, and the president said, hey, if she wants to fly, let her fly. But as a result of that, she went back and convinced President Roosevelt that we ought to give African Americans the opportunity to fly. And when you give someone an opportunity, the sky's the limit, as we found out with the Tuskegee Airmen, because all you got to do is just give them that opportunity. I mean, as I was thinking about this, what would have happened if something would have gone wrong on that flight? But the key, it didn't. It didn't go wrong. Chief Anderson excelled in an exceptional manner. Like General Davis, who started to fly prior to getting into the military, and here's a person that couldn't even get into the Air Force after his graduation out of West Point. I mean, the only African American in the class, at times isolated from his classmates, and then through that isolation, he gained tremendous respect by his classmates. Commanded at several levels of Tuskegee Airmen. I mean, so you talk about what would happen if Chief Anderson's flight would have gone wrong. What would have happened if, when General Davis went to Washington, D.C., after hearing that people were questioning the credibility of the 99th Fighter Squadron, what if he would not have been successful? But he was successful. And he was successful because it wasn't the first time he experienced adversity. He went to West Point. He was isolated from his classmates, so he understood what was required. He understood really what this meant to America. And I'm struggling to get a better understanding of what this meant to America. But the point was, like General Davis, in my study I found out that Jordan's father also flew prior to striving to be a pilot. Went to Illinois with 80 people striving to be pilots. They only selected 5. So the other 75, one of them did other important tasks. I mean, the 1 in 10 that I talk about. But the bigger story is, because they were not offered to be pilots, they didn't turn back. Just kept pressing because they knew that in order for pilots to fly, others had to do important tasks. And so, how do we overcome? I think the Tuskegee Airmen taught us how to overcome adversity. We still need those lessons today. Or turn back because we were not provided the opportunity we were promised. But the Tuskegee Airmen, Norris County and other Tuskegee Airmen went on to serve in the capacity they were assigned, and like you, changed America in thought. About the impacts that will make on our country, but also taught us to fight through adversity. When Chief Anderson answered the First Lady's question, can blacks fly? Not only can they fly, but they can serve in so many other capacities, as you have proven time and time again. And I was kind of struggling because seeing something about her father, and I knew Virginia was going to introduce me. I don't know Virginia's father, but they kind of say father, so it made it very easy for me. So, to the Tuskegee Airmen, Lawrence, his courage and his sacrifice, just like all of you, even though I may cite some names that I know I'm hoping to get an opportunity to meet many more of you after today's event, but if you say one Tuskegee Airman's name, it's representation of all of it, because it is a fraternity. It is the fraternity that changed America. Before the Tuskegee Airmen, no African American had ever been a United States military pilot. The separate and equal treatment of African Americans were used as justification for blocking previous attempts by African American soldiers to become pilots. African Americans served bravely and with distinction in every theater of World War II while simultaneously struggling for their own civil rights from the world's greatest democracy. Officially segregated until 1948, World War II laid the foundation for post-war integration of the military. In 1941, fewer than 4,000 African Americans were serving in the military, and only 12 of those were officers. A fact that I didn't know until I had to do some research in preparation for the day. By 1945, more than 1.2 million African Americans would be serving in uniform on the home front in Europe and the Pacific, including thousands of African Americans, women in the Women's Auxiliary. Again, a fact that I was unaware prior to accepting your invitation to speak. I want to end with a few stories. I met Karen Robinson today downstairs. She was telling me about her father, Leroy Roberts. She said that he made $12 a month, and $8 of the 12 was spent on flying school. Didn't make her grandparents very happy, but he had a vision, and he knew the significance. Last Saturday, I had a chance to, because I'm an engaging, I'm just an engaging person. I just love people, so I had a chance to talk to. Right when I came into Hangar 2, I saw and met Charles Drayton Jr., whose dad was a Tuskegee pilot, and went on to wear the Air Force uniform for 22 years, and was a professor of earth science from 6'2" at Howard University. His wife Irma was also a Tuskegee Airman, and he met Irma the night before he departed to participate in the first North African campaign in 1943. But the story he told me, he said in 2013, my other brother came and he was with us, and he's not with us today because he passed. I just have my long other brother, but he said, what really makes this important for me is that it reminds me of my brother and dad who are no longer with me. And he said when he was a little boy, he would travel with his father and couldn't figure out why he had to stay at a friend's house. Separately. I mean, there was no place, there was no hotels for him to check into. He said he didn't realize as he got older what all that meant. Like a lot of us don't realize until we get older what the experiences we're going through, what they mean and will mean tomorrow. So he said that only recently did he really realize, and when I say recently, probably in the last 10, 20 years, the sacrifices that his mother and father made. And that touched me, but it didn't touch me like the story, and I'll kind of conclude on this. I was talking with Sandy Taylor, and Sandy Taylor, you probably know her better than me. She is the superintendent for the National Park Service, and one of her three sites is the Tuskegee historical site. And so I said, Sandy, what is the most touching story you have? She goes, well, it's easy. She said, wasn't too long ago, there were some bombers that came down from Atlanta, and Colonel Carter was there at Tuskegee Airmen, someone I didn't get an opportunity to meet, but he has now since passed. But she said, what I remember is this young boy who was like 2, 3 generations, great or great grandchild of one of the bombers, walked up to Colonel Anderson and just kind of tugged on his leg and said, thank you for what you did, because if you didn't do what you did, I wouldn't be here today. That's powerful. As Virginia disobeyed my order, and read a bio that was way too long and really insignificant to what I'm here to talk about today. But I talked about how not only could blacks fly planes, but can also do other technical skills. And so as a commander of the U.S. Army Corps of the South Pan Division, we are involved in waterborne support deeply for our nation. We have hydropower plants. We're advising. I had a chance to sign an international agreement between 2 countries, Brazil and the United States, on how we provide technical services. Remember the word, technical services, to our other countries. And so as that little boy who tugged on Colonel Carter's pants leg, I'm going to echo his thoughts and tug on all the pants leg of our Tuskegee Airmen who are no longer with us and who are with us. Because of you, I am here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for being here.
And in addition, we should also like to give you a significant replica of a Tuskegee Airman and documentation as to its authenticity and in appreciation for your